I think I've been thinking a lot about the flow and how the Tao, the flow of energy that kind of is moving through us all the time, and how when we come across things that we want to fix or change, either within ourselves or the world, sometimes we can hit the roadblocks instead of and become a fixer to the point where we're in opposition instead of letting things flow through us. And of course, that's necessary at times to have resistance to things that aren't working well and figure out ways to go about it. Um, but I think in our bodies, often when we are stressed about the state of affairs in our own lives or in the lives of others, if we are meeting with resistance, it lodges in our body very, very easily. And I know I'm not the only one who can have some cultivation of tension, especially around, the traps, the neck, the way we breathe can get really locked up and tense, and we lose that capacity to just relax and flow. So if you are the type of person that gets bound by stress in whatever way it shows up in your body, of course it shows up in your body in some way, think about how you can. Yesterday I was near a river and just seeing this flow, and how the flow of water is more powerful than anything, really, that it can dissolve rock, and at the same time a tree can be rooted and grow right in the middle of a river. So it's this beautiful way to be both fluid and strong. And I think when we're working with stress, if we can cultivate that kind of feeling in our body, where we can be upright and true, but also relaxed and letting things flow through us, this is a beautiful way to be in presence with our struggles. And it's often difficult to do so. So I know I'm not the only one who harbors tension in the body. So I just wanted to read a little bit from the Tao Te Ching. There's so much in here that's so beautiful. But this is just one translation by Stephen Mitchell. If you want to become whole, let yourself be partial. If you want to become straight, let yourself be crooked. If you want to become full, let yourself be empty. If you want to be reborn, let yourself die. If you want to be given everything, give everything up. The Master, by residing in the Tao, sets an example for all beings. Because he doesn't display himself, people can see his light. Because he has nothing to prove, people can trust his words. Because he doesn't know who he is, people recognize themselves in him. Because he has no goal in mind, everything he does succeeds. When the ancient masters said, if you were to be given everything, give everything up, they weren't using empty phrases. Only in being lived by the Tao can you truly be yourself. And it goes on and on, but this idea of letting go of your goals for change enough to be open-minded to the passing of energy through you. I think this is very difficult to do, to have a goal, right? Like, I'm going to fix this problem, or I'm going to create a solution here, or I'm going to succeed in this task. It can be something simple like cooking a meal. It can be something big like solving the problems of the world. But if we fixate so deeply in our body and in our mind, having that level of concentration is beautiful, but we need to have a surrender to it. There has to be a level of letting go of the expectations. One of my dear friends has always said the expression, expectations are preconceived resentments. And so if we can have goals, but have fluidity and open-mindedness about how those solutions come to pass, this allows for a flow in our bodies too. So the breath always is a gateway to cultivating this within us. So if you tend to be a stubborn problem solver like me, like there's a problem, I want to fix it. Learning how to be in the flow can give so many gifts that are unexpected and beautiful. So let's just take a moment to close your eyes and settle into a steady posture. And in yoga, this concept is laid out in the sutra. I don't have the sutra in front of me, but it's basically to be steadfast in your effort and to release all the fruits of your labors. That you cultivate the striving and the will for the will itself, and not because there's something to be accomplished, but rather just to show up fully and then to surrender completely. What does that feel like in your body? To show up fully and to surrender completely. How does it show up in your breath? How can the breath move through this to show up fully and to surrender completely? When you live those words, when you use that as a little mantra, I'm showing up fully, I'm surrendering completely, what happens in your body? What shifts? What changes? Is there a place that you're muscle bound that can have a little seeping water running through? Is there the capacity to have your breath move more deeply and fully through you? So just notice, how are you today? Is your body tired or energetic? Are you stiff or loose? Do you have pain or discomfort anywhere? Are you feeling free? Is your breath blocked up anywhere? Can you let it soften into all the hidden nooks and crannies of your body? Go ahead and place the palms at your heart and set an intention for your practice. What's here for you today? What are you rising to meet today that you can rise and meet with full effort and deep surrender? Let's release the hands and come onto your back. All right, so lie down. Befriend your body. Remember that this is the house for your soul. And if you trust in the divine spirit within you, what kind of house do you want? What kind of temple do you want to cultivate? Is it one of acceptance and love and support? Or is it one of resistance and stubbornness? So just notice, even these ways that we block flow, does it impact your spirit body? The flow of energy moving through you is the spirit body. And in my opinion, that's where I feel the spirit body. So how can you cultivate that sense within you that you're more than just your muscles and bones, that you're more than the thinking mind, that if we're going to have this surrender and this flow, we have to accept what's there flowing. What does the energy feel like? So let's take a moment to just sense that energy in your body. Be comfortable. So legs spread out, knees bent, whatever feels good. And if you've practiced with me for a little while, you know this concept of yielding, giving yourself over into the earth. And to me, this is a beautiful way to practice the art of surrender and to practice the art of effort. To have that flowing relationship with the earth energies. So feel this in your breath, feel this in your body. What can you give over and surrender to? And where do you have a sense of stoutness that's coming into the physical body to energize you? Let's turn this into some movement. So stretch the arms overhead and wide. Lengthen through your sides. Maybe squeeze your muscles a little bit if it feels good to give it a little flex. And then release your knees into your chest and give yourself a little hug. And rock around a little bit. Take care. Notice the places. Speak to parts of your body that are holding tension. And see if you can befriend them more and more. And lead with that sense of surrender. And then also, if you're feeling places that need some shoring up, need some stability, can you give your will, can you give your sense of effort to stand watch over these parts of your body and protect. Okay, so circling the knees a little bit each direction. Deepening your breath. Okay, and let's starfish one more time. Arms and legs wide on the ground. Open your chest. Exhale, knees, head up, knees in. Let's do that one more time. Inhale and open yourself up and wide. Exhale, knees into the chest. Let's roll over onto your side and come up onto your hands and your knees. Okay, so finding all fours, let's move through some cat-cows, arching and rounding the spine. Take time to discover the movement of your body. How does your spine feel? Relax your head, soften the gaze. Keep moving. And then stretch back towards child's pose. Walk the hands out in front of you and rock a little bit. You can kind of go side to side. And then let's walk the hands over to the right side of the mat, finding the ribs, dropping weight into the pelvis. If your knees are unhappy, just slide forward a little bit. You can still feel that sense of stretch through the side of you. Deep breath in and away. All right, and come back to center. Over to the other side you go. Take care to notice all the places that you want to open in your body. Is your neck relaxed? Remember that the breath is our greatest teacher for staying in the Tao, staying in that flow. Let's go ahead and come back up onto all fours. Inhale, reach the left arm up in the air. Exhale and slide that shoulder down. Finding a twist, gaze toward the floor, let there be ease. Move the shoulders away from the ears. Find the space in the back of your lungs and breathe there. And then inhale. Reach that arm all the way back up to the sky. Place the hand down onto the ground and change sides. Lift your arm. Exhale. Slide that arm through. Make sure your neck stays really soft. Move the shoulders away from the ears. Find your breathing body. All right, and then inhale and reach that arm all the way up to the sky. Place the hand down onto the ground and stretch back towards child's pose one more time. Feel free to rock around a little bit. And eventually we're going to find our way up into dog pose. So spread out your hands. And remember, if dog pose is not working for you, you can always stand up and have dog pose against a piece of furniture or against a wall if your shoulders are a little unhappy in dog pose. Let's find our legs. So pedal out your feet, drop a heel, bend the opposite knee. Just find that sense of space. Find the breath. Feel free to take your time. Open up the little parts of your body. How do the bottom of your feet feel? Can you spread the toes? Do you have a sense of lifting your femur bones up and back? How are the rooting of your hands? Is your heart melting a lot or maybe too much? Do you have a sense of collapse in your shoulders? Instead, can you lift the heart toward the pelvis? Deep inhale. Long exhale. Surrender. What's to surrender? Find a place in your body to surrender. All right, and then let's walk our feet forward. Come into Uttanasana. Fold a little bit. Relax the head. Feel free to bobble. Sway your tail around. Find what works. Inhale for a halfway lift. Hold the tops of your thighs. If you have blocks, you can put your hands on blocks. Exhale and melt back down. Bend your knees a lot. So take away the tug at the back of the knees and the back of the hamstrings. Inhale for a halfway lift. Find the straighter legs. Exhale and melt back down. Push off your feet. climb up. Remember, if you're dizzy, just pause. You can cross your thighs over thigh. You can squeeze your hands together. You can tuck your chin, just squeeze toward the middle. This will help lift your blood pressure up. Feet are hip width apart. And let's pause here for a moment. Practice your yielding. So close your eyes for a moment, soften the knees. You can have your arms down at your sides or wherever you want them to be. Relax for a moment. See what it feels like to sink your feet, to drop into the earth. Try not to collapse, where you're falling. Find the rebound so that we're just smack in the middle between collapsing and propping. So find that sweet spot just for you. Feel a sense of weight come into the legs. Deep breath in, deep breath away. Inhale, reach the arms. Find your breath. Exhale, release the hands behind you. Interlace your fingers. Heads of the arm bones rolling back. And it's okay if you can't lift your hands away from your spine. Just go into the open chest as best as you can. Find the breath here. And then release. Shrug your shoulders up and back. So some big shoulder rolls. And we're going to bring the arms into this action. So kind of coming with either arms all the way up. You can cactus your arms as you do this or have just big wide circles. You can move slow or fast. You can have teeny circles or giant circles. Just get into warming up the shoulders. And then we're going to cactus the arms. So open the chest. Spread things out. Reach your hands back. Take a breath. And then exhale and stretch the back. Scoop all the way down to the floor. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale and melt back down. Step the left foot back, the right foot comes forward into a lunge. Find the sense of expansion through that hip flexor on the back leg. Just notice what feels good in your body. All right, finding the length through your heart. And then let's start to move here. Straightening your front leg a little bit. It doesn't have to go all the way straight. Bow in, surrender something. Inhale, find the courage. Open heart, that sense of stout steadiness. Exhale, surrender something on your exhales regardless of what your body's doing. All right, let's come into a lunge. We're going to put the back knee on the ground unless your knee doesn't like that. Uncurl your toes or curl them, whatever feels good. Open up your heart. So before we lift our hands off the blocks, just find that sense of extension through the hip flexors. Reach the arms up, hand on your knee, extend the other arm up to the sky. When you're ready, grab on to that wrist, find some extension, reach through the ribs, try not to pull at the shoulder joint. All right, come back up, cactus your arms here, big open chest, and then exhale and release your hands down onto the blocks again. Back toe lifts up off the ground, back foot moves forward. Inhale for a halfway lift, thigh bones back. Exhale and melt toward the floor. Step your other foot back. So now our left foot is forward, our right foot is back. Let's start moving. Squaring the hips, dropping the head, soften in, breathing as you go. Are you befriending your body? Are you befriending the breath? Are you feeling the flow? Do you have that balance of keeping a mind towards effort in the sense of stability and steadiness and presence? Are you also having an eye toward the surrenders, letting go, the moving energy through your body? All right, let's come into a lunge. Place your back knee onto the ground. Maybe uncurl your toes, maybe they are flat. Just enjoy this. Feel the flexion in your left hip, the extension in your right hip. And when you're ready, come on up, bring your hands onto your knee. You can always have your back knee up off the floor if you need a little more stability, or if your knee bothers you to be on the ground. Inhale, reach that right arm up in the air, extend. Then when you're ready, grab on with the other arms. Find just a little bit of stretch here, a little bit of openness through the side body. Hug to the midline. Feel that sense of stability in your lower body. And then when you're ready, open up your heart. Maybe you want to cactus your arms. Maybe you want to stretch your arms out. But just get your chest to broaden. And then release the hands down onto the ground. Let's bring our back foot forward. Come into a halfway lift again. Exhale and melt back down. Push off your feet. Rise up, reaching the arms to the sky. And then trace down through the center. Pause here for a moment. Deepening your breath. Feel the yielding. All right. So if you were here last week when we did some of those nerve glides, we're just going to do a little bit of it here. So stretch your arms out, flex your hand, or extend your hands really. Extend your wrists so your palms are facing out. Drop the shoulders down, open the chest, and we're just going to drop one ear toward the shoulder, back up, other ear toward the shoulder. Just move slowly. Take some deep breaths. Okay. Now let's roll our wrists around and release your hands. Interlace your hands behind your back one more time. Open the chest again. This time when we do this, after we just have a moment of spreading the collarbones and hugging the shoulder blades, release that. We're going to grab onto the right wrist with the left hand, have just a little bit of a tug, and then we're going to reach the right ear up toward the sky. Think less about dropping your ear down and more about extending your other ear up. Find the breaths through the side of your neck. And now experiment. Lift your chin toward the ceiling. Touch your teeth gently. Stretch your chin down toward the floor. Just find the spot that feels really good in your neck. Have that little bit of a tug on your shoulder. And then come back up. Have a shrug both sides. Exhale and release that other side. So grab on. Feel the lift, 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 lift. That left ear up. Spread across the collarbones. And feel free to move your chin. So you can drop it down, you can lift it up, wherever feels good. What would it feel like to offer flow into your scalenes, the muscles in the side of your neck, your traps? What can you surrender as you do this? Even if your stretching feels like effort, what can you do to back away just enough where there's release instead of stretch? And then release your head. Give a shrug up and release your arms down. Inhale, both arms to the sky. Open your chest, lean your arms out and wide or cactus. And then bend your knees and float forward. Wobble your head around. Let the sides of your neck rest. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale and melt back down. And let's step back to a plank. So find that sense of stability. Breathing deeply. Breathing fully. I have to have my clock nearby, otherwise I'll just keep you guys forever. We'll just do yoga forever, which would be fun. All right, so you can always put your knees down in this posture. There's no reason why you have to have a full plank. You can have your knees on the floor. Drop the shoulders away from the ears. Where is yielding in this posture? Do you have a balance where you're gently pushing the floor away, but also having the shoulder blades come toward each other? So instead of having that be a push-pull or a tug of war, can you melt those two forces into each other? Deep breaths in and away. And then let's find our way coming onto our belly, onto the floor. Okay, so take a moment, put your head on your hands, forehead on your hands. Drop the shoulder blades away from the ears. Give your neck some room. Take a deep breath here. Melt. Let's find Sphinx pose. So bring your arms, turn them out. Elbows are under shoulders. Lift, open your heart. Can you still find that spaciousness across your neck instead of turtling your shoulders up toward your ears? Drop the shoulders down. Feel some room. And then exhale and release. We're going to just do a little bit of active back bending. We're moving towards some passive back bends. But right now, let's just activate the back body. So take your arms out to the sides like cactus arms. Take a deep breath, and we're gonna just lift the upper body a little bit. So feel the rhomboids hug toward the spine, and then exhale and come down. Make sure your core is activated. Stretch your legs, engage your legs. Inhale up, feel the back body work for the posture. Exhale and come back down. One more time. Inhaling up, and then exhaling back down. Push back up onto all fours. Have some time to swirl through your shoulders, to move through your pelvis, to sway from side to side, anything that you need to let your spine become easy. And then stretch back towards child's pose. Maybe your arms want to be in a different position than this. Maybe they don't. Come up to dog pose when you're ready. Lengthen through the spine. Deepen your breath again. We're going to bring our right foot forward. Bring the back heel down onto the ground, so come on up. We're going to keep the back heel grounded. So instead of coming into crescent lunge with the heel up, the heel stays down. Find your lunge. And remember, your lunge can be deep, your lunge can be backed away. So this does not have to be, you protect your knees. So remember, we're having stability balanced with surrender. Surrender doesn't mean like giving your body up. It doesn't mean going so loose and free that you lose your stability. It's this balance act. So find your breath to help you. Inhale, reach the arms up to the sky. Maybe lean back and let that back bend happen. Try not to push the ribs forward. Find some integration. Root through the feet, both of them. And then release the hands. Interlace your hands behind your back. Maybe try the weird way. Open the collarbones. We're going to tip forward to the inside of the knee and come forward. Maybe the arms come up in the air. Maybe they stay really close to the spine. Whichever you're doing, lift the heads of the arm bones, spread across the collarbones, and keep the neck long and spacious. Try to stay connected with the back leg. How's your breath? All right, let's unwind. Find your breath. Spin your back foot forward so your heel's off the ground now. Let's put our knee down onto the ground. Bring your other knee back. Cat-cow. Up to dog pose when you're ready. 2 feet on the ground, spread out the bones of hands and feet so you feel the roots sink into your yielding. Drop in and push off. Drop in and push off. Find the yield push. Is there a relationship? Do you have a flow with the energy of the earth, or are you combating the earth? Are you trying to just push yourself off the earth? Let's bring our left foot forward. And remember, if the transition from dog pose is difficult for you, bring your knees down onto the ground and then bring your foot forward. This is definitely a little more relaxed way than swinging your leg forward and through if that's a struggle for you. Plant the back heel down onto the ground and come up into Virabhadrasana 1. So you can take your front foot out to the side so you have more room for your pelvis. You can be heel to heel, whatever feels good to you. Remember, your lunge can be deep, your lunge can be backed away a little bit more. Find the center of the body. So as you bring the arms up, try not to overarch the back, but come into the integration of lifting your spine out of the pelvis. And then maybe find the upper back bend. What does your head want to do? Does it feel comfortable to look up or no? Do you want your arms out, up in the air? Do you want your hands on your hips? What gives you a greater capacity to feel the openness across your chest, the ease, the breath? And then we're going to interlace our hands behind our back, open the chest, come forward, try not to collapse the shoulders, lift the rhomboids toward the spine, so shoulder blades moving towards spine, the floating ribs are hugging in, the collarbones broaden, the heads of the arm bones lift up toward the sky. Feel the roots of your feet, yield in, give to the earth, and rebound back. The spine stays long, even though the head bows, the spine stays long. Deep breaths in, deep breaths away. All right, go ahead and push off your foot. Bring your back foot forward. Take your time. Shrug your shoulders up and release. Big old circles, open the chest, cactus if you want your arms to be in a cactus. And then exhale and fold forward. Relax, let the head of the base of your skull melt a little bit. Find the surrender here. Inhale for a halfway lift. Spine grows. Exhale and melt back down. All right, come up onto your hands and your knees. So we're coming down onto the ground. We're going to move into opening the psoas just a little bit more. So either with a blanket or a block. We're going to have a bridge pose low with a block. And if you have the capacity to have your heels resting on a wall, that's great. And if you don't have that, if you're in the middle of the room, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. Feet are bent. Lift up your pelvis. Put the block on the lowest height. If you're using a blanket, that's fine too. Have a little height under your pelvis. Now, before we straighten our legs, let's just find the psoas muscles. So maybe put your hands on your belly and just trace from right below your rib cage, that part of your spine. Imagine an upside down V where these muscles travel from the spine down to the femur bones. Okay, so like a V in your body, an upside down V. So just imagine, maybe trace it with your hands or your fingers. Visualize the deep, strong muscles in your pelvis. And then we're going to straighten our legs and find the extension. Now maybe 2 legs is too much and you want to just straighten 1 leg at a time. So you get to choose whatever's going to not only make your back feel better, but also what's going to give you the sense of opening your psoas muscles. The psoas is a deep flexor and it's very unconscious. It tends to create tension and flexion when we are not going with the flow, when we are resisting and our body's holding tension. The psoas can often hold a lot of unconscious tension. So stretch the feet into the wall. Maybe your arms want to stretch overhead or down at your sides. Maybe you're doing 1 leg. If so, switch at this point to the other leg. Take some deep breaths. Imagine that the breath can travel right down your psoas muscles from the mid part of your spine all the way down to your femur bones. Deep inhales. Deep exhales. All right, and then let's go ahead and bend your knees. Keep on the blanket or a low block and bring your knees towards your chest. Just find a little bit of a counter pose, letting the knees flex. You can hug them in if you want. You don't have to go that deep, so just find what works for you. Fill yourself up. Empty yourself out. Go ahead and lower our feet down to the ground. Come off that block and let's do a simple twist, windshield wiper twist. So feet are wide on the mat and let's just go left and right in the body. Finding your breathing. All right, let's go ahead and draw the knees back in and just rock a little bit. What does it feel like to soothe your back? All right, and then let's roll over onto our side. I'm going to give you guys a couple of choices because I don't know what people have as far as props and things go. So heart bench is where I'd like to go if you have 2 blocks. If we're trying to work with the flow and we tend to hold a lot of tension, up in our chest and shoulders, passive postures that really allow us to open and surrender into the openness instead of work in the openness are very helpful. We can bring our breath there so easily. So if you happen to have 2 blocks, you can either have 1 block long ways between your shoulder blades, or you can put it crossways. I tend to like it long ways, but some people like it crossways. So you decide. And then the other one is one step higher. So the blocks are this height and this height. And this one goes underneath the base of your skull. So it's called heart bench because it's a little bench for your heart. If you don't have blocks, that's okay. You can use blankets to do this. So the key here is to have the block in between your shoulder blades, supporting your heart, and the other block just a step higher, just one little step higher. So your head is above your heart, which is above your pelvis. And the key is to just figure out how to get comfortable here. So mess around until the blocks are just right, and then figure out where you want your legs to be so they can be straight like my legs are. You can bend your knees. You can butterfly your knees open in Baddha Konasana. You can support underneath your knees with blankets if you do that. You can have your knees knocked. So, whatever is working for you. Once you find comfort, your job here is to surrender and melt. So now we don't really have to do a lot of balancing of stability along with the surrender. The blocks are giving us the stability. So we get to tip the scales and lean into the surrender. Pay close attention to make sure that your shoulders are staying away from your ears, that even here you can creep up. So you can even pick yourself up, slide the shoulder blades down the back again. Find space. Let the base of your skull surrender. Let the inner walls of your throat relax. Soften your jaw. Come into that state of ease and surrender. Let the breath find its way into depth. How do your ribs feel? Can you feel your back body breathing? Is your back supported enough? Do you need to change something with your legs or your blocks? Once you feel like you're starting to find the flow of your breathing, melt every breath. Melt as best as you can. Find that sense of surrender through the shoulders. Dropping down. Deepening the breath. Melt through your face, melt through your jaw. Let's go ahead and find our way out of this pose. Whatever, before you move, just let's have one more moment of just letting the shoulders drop. Let the base of your skull drop. Find whatever it is that holds you back from deep freedom in this pose. Is there any spot in your body that in this last couple of moments you can deeply ask, can you let go? And then we're going to bend our knees and come rolling over onto your side. Be careful because you're on some props. Bring your knees toward your chest and find some rest for just a moment. We have more work to do, but just see if you can keep this ease alive. And then inhale and come back up. Once you come up onto all fours, release that posture. So maybe you want to do some circles with your hips. Maybe you want to do some cat-cows. Maybe you want to sway from side to side. Maybe you want child's pose. Maybe you want like a combination of all of these things.
So counter the back bend, relax your forehead toward the floor, melt. Even if you're on all fours, can you feel the sense of your face melting and relaxing? All right, let's go ahead. We're going to find our very last dog pose for our practice. So go ahead and find your way. Bring your hands, bring your feet, lengthen the spine. And let this just all be about finding the length of the spine. The sternum lifts up toward the pelvis. The spine grows. You can bend your knees as much as you want to. And then walk the feet forward. Come into Uttanasana and relax. Bend your knees as much as you want. Feel free to bend them a lot. All right, and then we're going to come back down onto the floor. So grab a blanket. We're going to do a couple twists here. So sit with your left sit bone on the blanket, and we're going to tuck our feet off to the right. So I'm letting the top of my top foot rest in the arch of my bottom foot. So however you kind of situate your legs, you want your knees to be hip width apart so that they're not splayed out. And the blanket is to prevent you from being like this. So with a blanket under just one sit bone, you get to drop this other sit bone down so the pelvis finds a little bit more balance. So allow that to sink into the pocket. Inhale, reach the arm up to the sky. That's my daughter cooking, so don't mind the fire alarm that she's gonna fix, I'm sure. Take a deep breath in, reach that arm up, bring the hand to the outside of the knee, drop the shoulders, finding the breath. Spread across the collarbones. Notice if your ribs push out, see if you can drop them in, sink the sit bone down toward the floor, and breathe. Full inhales, full exhales. You should just be happy that you can't smell my kitchen right now. All right, now let's go ahead and come back to center. Find your breath. Let's sit on the edge of the blanket. Okay. Bring your knees into your chest. Before we do the other side, just curl your head in, bow in, tuck in, finding the breath. And let's go to the other side. Inch the blanket over. So it's just underneath the right sit bone. The feet are going off to the left. The left sit bone is dropping down into the pocket. Feel the spine grow. Hand behind you. Now, if you're high on a blanket, you might need a block to put underneath your hand. If your hips are high, your hand might need to be high too, so you choose. Inhale, reach that arm up. Bring the hand to the outside of the knee and twist here. Drop the shoulders, open across the collarbones. Deep breaths in, deep breaths away. Let's go ahead and come back around again. Okay, so same, come up onto the blanket, bring your legs round in just a little bit, tuck your chin toward your chest. Okay, and then we're gonna sit cross-legged for just simple cross-legged twists. So if crisscross your legs, if you're not comfortable with legs crisscrossed, you can always stretch. You can do this twist instead and just cross one leg over a straight leg. So you decide. Hand behind you, lift that arm to the sky. We're going to the left, hand to the outside of the knee. Open the chest. Shoulders are still dropping down. Collarbones are broadening. Try to resist the urge to lift up your ear toward your ears with your shoulders. And then come back around again. Other side. Lifting that arm to the sky, bring the hand to the outside of the knee, drop the shoulders, open across your collarbones. Remember that the leverage you have bone on bone can be stronger than the leverage of your breath, so let the breath be the guiding force of the twist. And then come back to center. take the soles of the feet together and Baddha Konasana, but we're gonna pull our feet away from us. So we're creating a little diamond shape between our legs, a little bit of a hip stretch here. Allow the elbows to move into the knees. Try to resist the urge to collapse the spine. Reach the spine forward instead. So the heart is lifting forward. Look forward so that you resist the urge to collapse. Finding the breath. Let's go ahead and come on up. Bring the knees back to center. We're going to come back onto our back now. Bring the knees toward the chest and circle a few times. Go one direction, go the other direction, finding the breath. All right, and then let's put our feet down. Bring your right foot, put it on top of your left knee. Take a breath and let's come into reverse pigeon pose here. So remember, if it's hard to grab onto your leg, if you feel like your neck starts to get tense from that, let go of the arms and put your foot up against something. So scoot your body until you have a chair or a couch or a wall or a bed to put your foot against. So that the posture stays open, that all this chest opening that we've done in different ways stays put in the body. Where do you want your arms when you're doing this? Do you want them up overhead? Do you want them out? Do you want them down? Deep inhales. Deep exhales. Let's find our way out of the pose and let's come to the second side. So you can choose to grab with your arms, but if that feels tension, if you're building tension in your neck and shoulders, then do something different. Put your foot on something so your upper body can be as relaxed as when you were in heart bench. To melt that much, let the shoulders relax, the chest is broad and free, the breathing is moving deeply. You're finding the stretch in the hips, there's balance across the pelvis. Deep breath in, deep breath away. All right, let's go ahead and release that. If you have a wall close by to put your legs up a wall, do that. If you have a chair or a couch close by, you can instead choose to put your legs up on kind of like in half leg up the wall pose. So you decide whether you want your legs straight up a wall or whether you want the backs of your knees on a couch or bed. So find a comfortable place to be in an inversion. So as we find our way into, this is the beginning of our Shavasana. We're doing an inversion first to find our way into Shavasana. And inversions, supported inversions like this are wonderful for teaching our bodies to surrender. All of the restorative poses are good to teach our body to surrender. So let's just enjoy the feeling of dropping our body weight. Yielding again, coming into that sense of connection with the earth below you. The breath is deep and full. Allow the shoulders to surrender. Come live inside your breath. What is your body feeling like? Are you able to surrender? Are you in the flow of that surrender? Have you suspended the need to fix any part of you, to solve any problems? Instead, just feel yourself yield into the floor, give yourself over. Find the rebounding energy moving through you. If you are super duper content, you can stay here for Shavasana. There's no need to move. If you feel the need to move, then move. And you can find any comfortable way for you to be for the last few minutes of class. So remember, whatever pathway you're choosing for your body to be in, our goal here is to feel that sense of surrender, to give way to the ease in our body, to cultivate, we already cultivate a lot of stubbornness, right? We don't usually need a little bit more cultivation of that. We have a lot of ways of getting stuck in our body. We need practice in learning how to surrender in our bodies. So do you feel a sense of integrity where you're intact, you're structurally intact? It's not like you're falling apart kind of surrender. But there's a deep letting go where you can give yourself over to the earth. Let go of having to be a certain way. And just feel the flow. Feel the flow below you of the earth. Feel the flow of your breath. Come back into that state of energy body, spirit body.
So here are some more words from the Tao to let seep into you. So bring your awareness out just a bit. Rest the body still. Just open your ears, your mind. There was something formless and perfect before the universe was born. It is serene, empty, solitary, unchanging, infinite, eternally present. It is the mother of the universe. For lack of a better name, I call it the Tao. It flows through all things, inside and out, and returns to the origin of all things. The Tao is great. The universe is great. Earth is great. Humankind is great. These are the four great powers. Man follows earth. Earth follows the universe. The universe follows the Tao. And the Tao follows only itself. Let's begin to breathe and move, stretch, invigorate, flow, whatever is working. And find your way onto your side. Take your time. There's no rush. And as you come up to a seated posture, make sure you're comfortable. Find what feels smooth and steady and free in the body. Is your breath teaching you the art of surrender still? Let's offer this flowing energy outward, share with others. So bring your hands to your heart and bow in. Whatever blocks you've freed up, where your energy can flow freely now, expand, share it, send it forth, share your love, your prayers, your concern. Share the sense of not having to fix, but just to flow. Namaste. All right, thank you, everyone. I'm glad you're here.